religiously understand the 7 principles of hell, you'll understand the 7 demons within you. You'll understand that whole concept. It's a whole metaphysical concept. We ain't go over that, but anyway, so from a spiritual standpoint now.
Yeah, we living in a world where the rules don't apply. They say we gotta follow, but we ready to fly. The system got us boxed in, trying to keep us small. But we rise like the phoenix, we ain't scared to brawl. They feeding us lies, but we see through the smoke. We're the voice of the people, we're ready to provoke. They want us to divide, but we're stronger as one. Breaking chains, taking names, yeah, we getting it done. It's us versus the system, we're breaking the mold. Fist in the air, yeah, we taking control. No more silence, no more fear. Together we rise, let them know we're here. Riders ignite. In the world of division, they showed us how to share. But the weight of our sorrows, they never taught us to bear. We split our joys and laughter, but the pain remain untold. A burden we carry alone, a story left untold. They taught us to split everything, but not the heavy pain. It lingers in the shadows, a darkness we can't explain. We're never shattered pieces, trying to mend what's lost. They taught us how to split everything, but not the heavy cost. We learned to divide our dreams and multiply our fears, but the ache in our hearts only grew with passing years. They gave us all the answers, except how to heal. The scars that run so deep, wounds the time can't seal. Yeah, they taught us how to share, but only the good. Smiles and laughter like we understood, but deep down inside, there's a storm we hide. Pain in our hearts, we're just trying to ride. Put on a mask, yeah, we play the part, but nobody sees the cracks in the hearts. We share our dreams, the highs and the lows, but when it comes to hurt, we just close the doors. We share the fun times, deflect the pain, laughing in the sunshine, dancing in the rain. But the shadows linger, they creep and they crawl, breaking us down, but we don't share at all. We got hate in our hearts, but we keep concealed. Taught to share the joy, but wounds, they stay unhealed. They say love was easy to divide, but the heartache never subsides. We try to split everything into two, but the pain lingers strongly true. Shared our dreams, divided our fears, but the sorrow remained through the years. No matter how we tried to let go, the weight of our suffering continued to grow. Now we're apart trying to heal, but some wounds are too deep to conceal. They said splitting up will set us free, yet the pain lingers in you and me. In a world where rules are set in stone, the grip tightens, we're not alone. Bound by chains of injustice greed. Against the odds, we fight to be free. Mighty forces try to keep us down, but our spirits rise, refusing to drown. Defying norms, breaking through the mold. In this battle of wills, our story is told. As the clash continues day by day, we stand united, come what may. For in this world where rules don't apply, our strength and unity will never die. They try to silence our dreams, but we're loud and clear. With every step forward, conquering fear. They can't hold us back. We're the fire and the flame in this battle for freedom. We're all in the game. They say it's just a game, but we're playing for keeps. With the strength of the many, we're shattered elites. No more puppets on strings, we're cutting the ties. With our eyes on the prize, we're reaching for the skies. So let's stand together, let's break down the walls. In this fight for our future, we'll answer the calls. From the ashes, we'll rise like a storm. Riders ignite, it's us versus the system, and we're ready to fight. They built the walls, but we're digging tunnels. With every step we take, we're shaking the bundles. From the streets to the courts, we're raising our voice. In a world full of noise, we're making the choice. They want to keep us blind, but we see the light. Knowledge is power, and we're ready to fight. From the corners of the city to the halls of the state, where the heartbeat of the struggle can't afford to wait. It's us versus the system, we're breaking the mold. It's in the air, yeah, we're taking control. No more silence, no more fear. Together we rise, let them know we're here. Riders ignite. They taught us to split everything, but not the heavy pain. It lingers in the shadows, a darkness we can't explain. We're left with shattered pieces, trying to mend what's lost. They taught us how to split everything, but not the heavy cost. Now we stand here broken, searching for some light, hoping for a way out of this never-ending night. But through it all, we find strength in each other's embrace. Together we'll face tomorrow and find solace in this space. They say don't bring the drama, keep it all light. But every night I'm fighting these demons in sight. Whispers in my mind, yeah, they echo when they shout. While I'm smiling on the surface, I'm breaking without. We're sharing the laughter, but what's underneath? A battlefield of sorrow, a war with no peace. We're warriors in silence, but nobody knows how the pain that we carry just grows and it grows. In a world of lessons learned, they taught us how to stand and burn. But the scars we hide deep inside are the ones that never subside. We followed all the rules they made, but the emptiness never fades. Their wounds like knives, cutting through even wounds that always grew. They painted pictures of success, but couldn't fix what's left of us. Now we're left to bear the strain of the pain that lingers, never wanes. It's us versus the system. We're breaking the mold. Listen to air, yeah, we're taking control. No more silence, no more fear. Together we rise, let them know we're here. Riders ignite. So remember this moment, remember this face, remember this sound. We're the voice of the future, and we won't back down. In the face of oppression, we'll stand up tall. It's us versus the system. Right? And into a trash can and forget about it like yesterday's newspapers. Hey, what up, everybody? I hope all of y'all's having a blessed and humble day. Continue to have a blessed and humble evening. This y'all shorty Racheal. Let me welcome all of y'all to the Writers for Life brings you the Let's Talk About It podcast. All right. And today, man, listen, we're gonna go down. You know, we're gonna go. How can I say? We're gonna review and react to some current news and events. All right, as y'all know it, man. Random topics and thoughts. If somebody needs the link to be dropped, just let a shorty know. All right, and I will drop the link. Today we're doing something a little different, okay? So we're experimenting with Twitch, all right? I'm listening to my subscribers, all right? I'm paying attention to the messages. All right, so we're gonna check Twitch out today. I'm hoping I might be skipping because I got a few tabs open, all right? But like I said, we're gonna check out Twitch. We're on Facebook, all right? So shout out to anybody that's on Twitch. Shout out to those that are on Facebook, man. And let me give a big shout out to all my subscribers, all right? Whether, you know, they've been rocking out with me for a minute or they're new to this channel. Listen, y'all know when it comes to the podcast, we talk about it all right? I'm not sure where y'all watching from, man. But listen, welcome to Billy, baby. All right, y'all. All right. Like I said, man, I hope all of y'all is having a blessed and humble day. Continue to have a blessed and humble evening. So listen, let's get this John started. All right, y'all. Listen, let's talk about it. Today we're diving, you know, into the current news. All right, the mess, the chaos, the things people pretend not to see, and the things they swear they didn't know. All right. Even though it's happening right in front of them, like we're like, how can I say? We're reviewing and reacting and breaking it all down, all right, the way we do, unfiltered, uncut, and unapologetic, all right? Like, if you know me, you already know I don't just give commentary, all right? My brain be throwing random thoughts like confetti, all right? And half the time, those thoughts hit harder than the actual headline. That's the beauty of being awake in a world that wants you, you know, half asleep. So buckle up, all right? Because we're not, you know, how can I say, we're not doing the watered down version at all. We never do. All right. So why should we start today? Right? There's so much going on around us that, you know, nobody talks about. People pick and choose what's trending, what's safe, what's popular. All right. And, you know, won't get them dragged. Meanwhile, the real issues, the ones affecting families, communities, kids, all right. And you know, the future gets swept right underneath the rug like dust. And I'm not here for that, right? I'm not here to pretend everything is fine when it's not. I'm not here to act like the world, all right, it is, how can I say, burning, but we're supposed to smile through it. Nah, all right? We're going to talk about it. The uncomfortable, the overlooked, the ignored, and the inconvenient. Because silence, you know, never saved anybody. For real. There's, you know, thank you. I think your name is Yaga, I hope I pronounced your name. I appreciate you for the compliment on the lyrical poetry. I appreciate you. But listen, back on topic, all right? But here's the thing, right? We're not just here to point fingers or complain, right? Anybody can do that. We're here to ask the real questions. How do we prevent this, all right, from happening again? How do we build solutions instead of, you know, stacking problems? How do we break cycles instead of repeating them? And how do we create accountability without turning everything into a witch hunt? That's the part people skip, all right? They love the drama, but they don't love the work. They love the outrage, but they don't love the responsibility, all right? So today we flipping that script, all right? And let me be clear. This is not a space to bash people, all right, for the sake of, you know, just bashing. We're not here to tear, you know, down folks. We're not here,
We're not here to tear down folks, all right, who are trying, all right, learning or growing. But if someone comes in acting a fool, y'all already know, all right, we get down. We could joke, we can roast, all right, we can clown respectfully, playfully, and with purpose, because sometimes humor is the only way, to survive the nonsense. But we're not wasting energy on people who need a babysitter, a priest, or a God himself, all right, to help them with their sins. All right. That's above our pay grade. I ain't gonna sit here and lie. People have a tendency, man. Oh my God, you hurt my feelings, man. Look, listen, the door's right there. Just make sure the doorknob doesn't hit you with the gun or split you. What we are going to do is stay focused, stay grounded, stay, intentional. Because every topic we touch today connects to something bigger, right? Patterns, systems, all right, behavior, choices, consequences. And when you start seeing the bigger picture, you stop falling for the distraction. You stop letting people gaslight you into thinking, your voice doesn't matter. You stop letting society normalize things that should never be normal. That's why these conversations matter. That's why your presence matters. That's why this life matters. So as we go through these stories, all right, these headlines, these situations, I want y'all to think deeper. Don't just react, all right? Don't just reflect. Don't just laugh, all right? Learn. Don't just get mad. Get motivated. Ask yourself, what does this teach us? What does, this reveal? What can we do differently? Because every time we talk about this stuff, we're planting seeds, all right? Seeds of awareness, seeds of accountability, seeds of change. And, if the world moves slow, we're still moving. Now, with all that being said, let's get started, right? Let's get into the truth, all right? The mess, the lessons, and the laughs. All right, let's break it down. What's really happening out here? Why does it matter? Let's talk about it. All right, let's talk about the things people avoid because they're scared of being, how can I say, honest. Let's bring solutions to the table instead of excuses. And let's do it in a way we always do: raw, real, passionate, and unapologetically. All right, because if we don't talk about it, who will? So let's talk about it now. How am I going to put this? All right, let's talk about it because this topic right here is another example of how wild, all right, the world is moving, and how nobody wants to admit. I'm gonna put it like this: nobody wants to admit it. All right, we got a nurse. All right, I don't know if y'all have heard of the story. All right, like of a nurse that, how can I say, I think she was smuggling contraband to an inmate. And I don't know how thirsty some females could be out here, but I guess real thirsty. Yeah, I mean, shit, I shouldn't even be shocked, man. I'm in the hood and we see this shit a lot. Man, listen, I know one of these lives, we got a video he saved up where there's this chick, all right? And she's, I think, was she the CEO? I think she was the CEO. Oh, or she knew somebody that was a CEO. I'm not, I forgot how it went, all right? And she's going to talk about how they have sex with the inmates. Hey, this shit, that video is wild. But anyway, we have a nurse, right? Someone trusted, someone supposed to be caring, for people. Someone with access and authority is now sitting, in the same jail she used to, clock into. Not because of some misunderstanding and not because of, a paperwork error, but because she was out here smuggling drugs and having a whole relationship with an inmate, right? You can't make this stuff up. All right. This is the kind of headline that makes you, stop and say, what is going on behind the scenes that we don't see? Because if this is what's, getting, how can I say, caught, imagine what's slipping through the cracks. Real shit. And let's be real, all right? This isn't just about one nurse. This is about a system that stays messy, stays, how can I say, understaffed, all right? Stays, how can I say, undertrained, and says, vulnerable, how can I say, it stays vulnerable to the people who, come in, how can I say, who come in with their own motives. All right. When you mix power, access, and desperation on both sides, you get situations like this. People love to act shocked, but corruption doesn't grow overnight. All right. It grows in silence. in corners, in places where nobody is watching, or where, you know, people are too tired to care. And that's exactly why stories like this matter. All right. They expose the cracks that have been there for years. And you know, it's crazy. We've been diving down rabbit holes, all right? We was just diving down the history of Philadelphia, PA, where a lot of, you know, a lot of the, how can I say, colonization started. All right. And if y'all missed those lives, go check them out. We talk about policies and how history hasn't changed, and how it has, you know, how it's only, you know, changed faces in suits. All right. Make sure y'all go check that out. And with me saying this, all right, let's get into this video. I don't want an invited guest. I want you to share my screen, dude. Like, don't start playing with me today, all right, Gina? I think my computer gonna act a little slow because I have these 3 extra tabs. I need to check them. All right, ain't nobody in the chat over there. This is my first time on Twitch, so I'm gonna say shout out to those who are on Twitch. I don't know how Twitch works. I know that it is known for games, but hey, I'm trying it out. All right, this is my first live on Twitch that I think. Yeah, it is my first live on Twitch. I'm tripping. Like, what? Hey. I am tripping. Oh. Shout out to Nate the Great. Nate, baby. Guys, make sure y'all go check out Nate the Great podcast. All right, man. He just had a live, and it was a great live. All right, listen, man. He does something similar to me, except he doesn't do the reviews and reactions. All right, but he really gets in on his lives. Great conversations, great topics, great male role model for the youth on some real itch. All right, so make sure y'all go check out Nate the Great podcast and show him some support and love. All right, and with that being said, let's get into this video.
A contractor who worked as a jail nurse is under arrest tonight. Investigators say she confessed to having a romantic relationship with an inmate and smuggling contraband into the Fulton County Jail. Channel 2's Michael Seiden broke the story on WSBTV.com, joining us live now in Northwest Atlanta with how authorities, Michael, say this investigation began with a note.
Yeah, George, investigators tell us it was another nurse that actually found a handwritten note that exposed this alleged relationship. And tonight, we are getting a closer look at some of that other evidence that was found that led to the felony charge. A ring, a gold chain, and a bottle of perfume. Investigators say these gifts were not just tokens of affection, but evidence of a secret romantic relationship inside the Fulton County Jail. Former nurse contractor Naomi Anthony's under arrest and charged with a felony after authorities say she confessed to having a relationship with this man, an inmate, Antoine McCrae, who's been in custody since police arrested and charged him in 2024 in connection with multiple child sex crimes. Investigators say the two met while Anthony was working inside the jail, and that the alleged relationship appeared to be getting serious before her arrest.
Had gone out and purchased herself and our inmate matching wedding rings.
So we're going to get married?
I have not delved into that just yet.
Investigators say the case broke open when someone came across a handwritten note inside the jail. According to court documents, the note described plans to bring drugs into the facility, along with sexual activity inside a nurse's station. Authorities say the note also referenced a payment totaling $1,300 made through Cash App to Anthony.
Someone noticed something irregular in terms of the nurse's behavior, in terms of how she and/or was moving.
Earlier this month, investigators say they received an anonymous tip claiming Anthony was hiding marijuana on her body to avoid detection by jail scanners and using an iPhone to communicate with McCrae. When investigators questioned,
damn, shorty, like, shit, can we say thirsty? I wanted to play. Listen, I was gonna let this whole John play, but Lord have mercy, this is what you got with. Boy, and then he a PDF file. Can we say thirsty? Boy, I just want to grab her out the damn screen if I could and grab her basketball shaped ass head and just dribble it on the ground and hoop that shit.
Her authorities say Anthony tried to hide her phone, but eventually admitted she started the relationship in October. And while we were inside the jail today, we actually saw a new security scanner that was getting ready to be installed. Just another reminder that Sheriff Labatt is not messing around when it comes to keeping contraband out of his jail. Also, that suspect, she did waive her first court appearance. A judge set her bond at $5,000. Last check, she remains behind bars. We're live in Northwest Atlanta. Michael Seiden, Channel 2 Action News.
Yo, can we say thirsty? Yo, wait a minute. Let me set the next video up quick. Hold on 1 second, guys. Like,
a contractor who worked as a jail nurse.
Oh, I'm trying to put the next video on so I can have it ready right on cue. This shit. Yo. Like, with all the men that are out here, this chick decided to sit here
now a local
and get together with a whole pedophile. So many fish in the sea, and she got with a pedophile. Like, and then listen, when women do this shit, I don't feel bad for them. You wanna know why I don't feel bad for them? Because you sat here, you knew what this man was about. Don't sit here and tell me you didn't know what he was about. Like, come on, listen. Woo! And then when he would have gotten home, you would have been the one that took him home, knowing what he was accused and what he was in there for. Like, if y'all don't sit here and watch, okay, listen, I know some of y'all don't have one specific social media. Some people really don't have social media on some real shit, believe it or not. All right, but I know some of y'all got social media. If you don't have a YouTube, you might have a Facebook. If you don't have a Facebook, some of you have an Instagram. Some of you don't have none of those two. Y'all might have a TikTok. Some of you have it, one or two. Listen, and y'all telling me y'all didn't get to see the news? Boy, listen now. According to the affidavit, right? Affidavit, she was arrested as she walked into work, meaning she was bold enough, all right, to think she could keep doing this without consequences. That tells me one thing, all right? She didn't think the system was watching her. She didn't think anyone would check her. She didn't think accountability would ever knock on her door. And that's the problem, right? Not just with women, all right, with men too. When people feel untouchable, they start moving reckless, all right? They start crossing lines. They start believing they're smarter than the system, smarter than, the law, smarter than the power. How can I say, not the power, smarter than the people around them. But eventually the truth catches up. All right. And y'all more than welcome to correct me if I'm wrong, even though it's my opinion, which I don't think I'm wrong. You see where I'm coming from? But this chick was tripping. All right. But let's also talk about, the environment that, allows this. Jails are chaotic. All right. They're, how can I say, understaffed, underfunded, and I thought they're underfunded. They say that. Okay, look, listen, let's put it like this. On paper, right? According to people, right? I'm not even going to say it like that because, you know what, Ray? Watch your mouth right now. Our taxpaying money is going into these jails, right? They're supposed to be going to the schools, right? But they've really gone to the jails in these wars. But you know what? Ray, shh. You said you wasn't going to say nothing, all right? You said you wasn't going to say nothing. I can't even say the jails are underfunded, but I'm gonna say they're underfunded. All right, just for the sake of YouTube. All right, and they're full of people who are vulnerable, right? Inmates and staff. Like you've got people working long hours, right? Dealing with trauma, stress, manipulation, and emotional exhaustion, right? And when you don't have strong leadership, strong boundaries, or strong oversight, people start forming connections they shouldn't. All right, they start making choices they wouldn't make in the outside world. It doesn't excuse it, but it explains how these situations grow in the dark. Listen, let's not pretend inmates don't know how to manipulate staff. Some of them are master strategists. All right, they know who's lonely, who's stressed, who's vulnerable, who's looking for validation. All right, they know how to talk, how to charm, how to build emotional dependency. But at the end of the day, right, the staff member is the one with the badge, the access, the responsibility. You can't be in a position of authority and then act like, you're the victim of your own choices. You knew the rules. You broke them. And now you're living in the same place you used to walk through with keys. The irony in that. Yo, that's wild. But here's the bigger question, right? How do we prevent this from happening again? Because roasting her is easy. All right? Laughing at the headline is easy, but the real work is asking why this keeps happening in jails across the country. Why do staff members, right, keep crossing boundaries? Why do drugs keep getting inside? We know the answer to this. We do. We really do know the answer to this. All right. Why do relationships form between inmates and employees? Until we address the root, all right, training, oversight, mental health support, staffing, accountability, we're going to keep seeing the same story with different names, different faces. One could be in a dress, the other one could be in a suit. Either way, it's the cycle repeating itself. All right. So let's get into it today. Not to bash, not to drag, but to understand. All right. To break it down, to talk about the real issues behind the headline. And yes, if someone acts a fool, we can joke and we can roast, we can laugh, because sometimes humor, like I said earlier, is the only way, to process the madness. But the goal is bigger than that. All right. The goal is solutions. The goal is making sure we're not, just reacting to the news, but learning from it. Now let's get started because, this one right here opens the door to a much bigger conversation. Now, a lot of y'all know that I'm from Philadelphia, right? And I think this happened a couple of days ago. So let's talk about it, right? Because this story right here had me in a whole, how can I say spiral? How can I say spiral spirit twisted mode type shit, right? An 18-year-old, right, Philly teen, a kid from Southwest, a kid just trying to go to school suddenly goes missing, right? And his phone pings all the way to San Diego. Do you know how terrifying that is for a family? 1 minute he's leaving the house like, any normal Monday morning. And the next minute his location is across the damn country. That's not a small jump, all right? That's not a misunderstanding. That's not. He went to to a friend's house. That's a whole cross-country situation that no parent should ever have to process. And the fact that, this even happened tells you how vulnerable our kids are out here, all right? And then, of course, right, the moment you hear the details, the moment you hear the patterns, right, the moment you hear the online connections, boom! Could y'all guess what it was? I want to see if somebody in the chat would guess what it was that, caused all this. All right. If y'all been following me for a minute, all right, y'all will know, all right, that I've been to through something similar. All right. As crazy as it is, there was a point in time where I had to sit here, all right, call the cops. Yo, my son is gone. All right. And I tried to prevent the situation before it even happened. But by the time I, got to it, it was, I wasn't too late, but I was late. If y'all understand where I'm coming from. So the way I could really understand, I could really understand how this family felt. All right. I had to sit here to talk to, officers. I got online. I posted pictures on Facebook, everything. All right. Like the feeling of not knowing where your child is going, that shit is a hurt. How can I say a hurt piece? We got the beautiful Miss Chicago in the building. Blessings to Miss Chicago. How you doing? How you doing today? Shout out to the beautiful Miss Chicago, yo. But listen, back on track, back on topic, all right? Listen, since ain't nobody answer it, right? Roblox is involved again. I swear that at this point, can we just ban Roblox? Like, because every time a story like this pops up, the platform is somewhere in the background, like like a shadow nobody wants to acknowledge. Parents, I'm begging y'all, stay on top of y'all kids' online activity. Like, I know that it's exhausting. I know it feels, invasive. I know you want to give them space. But how can I say it? Not this. These platforms are not built with your child's safety in mind. They're built for engagement, money, and numbers. All right. And predators know exactly where to go. All right. This situation was preventable. That's the part that hurts the most. This didn't have to happen, all right? But the people who run that site do not care about children's safety, all right? The way how can I say? Yeah, I was going to say, right? These people on this site, they don't care about your children's safety the way they pretend to, all right? Like, they'll put out statements that'll, they'll talk about it, right? They'll talk about community guidelines. They'll act like they're doing, how can I say, everything they can, but the reality is kids are getting groomed, manipulated, and lured every single day. And unless parents, guardians, and communities stay vigilant, this platform will keep slipping through the cracks because, they're not losing, sleep over your child. They're not the ones panicking when a phone pings 2,700 miles away from where your child is supposed to be. But let me say this. All right, let me say this loud and clear. Thank God they found him, all right? That's the part, we could breathe on. That's the part we could hold on to because not every story ends like this. Listen to what I just said. Not every story ends like this. Too many families never get that call. Too many parents never get that relief. Too many kids disappear into the digital world and never come back home. So yes, all right, we celebrate that, that he was found. But we don't ignore the fact that this should have never escalated to this level in the first place. Relief doesn't erase the danger, and relief doesn't erase the lesson. All right, and let me say this. This is where we have to be honest, all right, with ourselves as a community, all right? We can't keep acting like, how can I say the internet is harmless? Let me stop saying internet. Like a lot of these social media platforms are harmless. We can't keep pretending these platforms are just games. Roblox is not a game, all right? It's a social media platform disguised as a video game. We can't keep letting these kids roam online with no supervision while, the world gets, how can I say, more dangerous by the day. Kids are smart, but they're not emotionally equipped to navigate manipulation, grooming, or online predators. All right. And the companies running these platforms know that. They know kids are vulnerable. They know parents are overwhelmed. And they take advantage of that, gap every single day. So today, all right, as we talk about this story, I want us to think bigger than, how can I say, just the headline. I want us to think, about prevention. I want us to think about awareness. I want us to think about, how can I say, what conversations we need to be having in our homes, our schools, our communities, because this isn't this isn't just about one team. This is about every child who logs into a platform thinking it's safe. This is about every parent who doesn't realize how deep this online rabbit hole goes. This is about every company that profits off kids but refuses to protect them. All right. And if we don't talk about it, who will? So let's get into it. Let's break it down. Let's talk about the dangers, the patterns, all right, and the red flags and the responsibility. Let's talk about how we protect our kids in a world that's moving faster than any of us can keep up with. And yes, we could joke, we could roast, and we could laugh. All right. Let's laugh at the audacity of these platforms acting clueless. But the core message stays the same. Stay alert. All right. Stay involved. Stay aware, because the world is not playing with our kids. We can't afford, how can I say, we can't afford to play with it either. All right. So let's get this John started. I cannot. What the fuck? Yo, man, the people in the chat is undefeated. I cannot with the people in the chat. All right, let's get this video started, guys. What in the world did I just read?
Issuing a Southwest Philadelphia mother is issuing a desperate plea tonight to help find her son.
Jamez Cartwright, who has an intellectual disability, has been missing for several days.
His family says he never showed up for school, and adding to the mystery, California.
Thursday night, the big story on Action News is a desperate search for a missing teen.
The 19-year-old's family says he was communicating with a man through a gaming app and is worried that he's been manipulated into leaving home.
Action from police headquarters. Elizabeth.
Yeah, Rick and Shari, police and the family say that teenager was last seen on the 6500 block of Linmore Avenue in Southwest Philadelphia. He was wearing his way to school. Now his family has no idea his phone
That's wild.
Pinging on the other side of the country a little over 24 hours after he was last seen. This is 18-year-old Jamez Cartwright. His mother says she last saw him on Monday morning when he left for school. She believed he was taking the SEPTA trolley to Hardy Williams High School, but the school told her he never showed up. Then, friends who had his location through iCloud said his phone had pinged in San Diego on Tuesday.
How did he get there? He don't have an ID.
Right?
Did someone take him?
Through the school community, mom LaShante Crocker learned that her son had been communicating with a man on a video game app called Roblox. Jamez's family says he has an intellectual disability and is vulnerable to manipulation.
Everyone loves Jamez. Everyone. That's everybody's favorite.
The family gave all of this information to the police. On Wednesday, they asked a nonprofit called the Black and Missing Foundation to get involved.
It was very alarming to us. So we are jumping on this case right away because time is of the essence.
Safety concerns around platforms like Roblox have led to investigations and lawsuits, with critics saying the platform doesn't do enough to protect children from online predators. In a statement, the company said it was troubled by this report and is assisting law enforcement. Roblox added that it has robust policies to protect its users.
That these individuals are utilizing social media or online gaming apps to connect and groom these young men and women, and they're making them feel comfortable.
Philadelphia police could not yet confirm whether that online communication played a factor in this case, but detectives are working to get warrants to get more information from Jamez's phone and his online activity. In the meantime, the family is just begging for the public for help to keep an eye out, and if you know anything, to contact police. We're live outside police headquarters tonight. Elizabeth Worthington, Channel 6 Action News. Char.
All right. Let's talk about it. All right. Listen, because this story right here had the whole city on edge, right? An 18-year-old Philly teen, a boy, living with a cognitive disorder, was reported missing earlier this week, right? And for days, his family was living a nightmare, right? When you, how can I say it? When you hear a child is missing, especially a child with disabilities, your whole soul shifts, right? Your mind goes to, the darkest places. Your heart, starts racing. And then, the details that his phone pin in San Diego. That sent everybody into a panic mode. Because how does a kid from Philly end up, with a phone signal across the country? How he end up in San Diego? Like, was it a glitch? Was it real? Was it someone else, holding his phone? And if they was holding his phone, like, how the hell did they get from Philly over there? Like, you see my point? Like, that shit is crazy. Like, that, that's uncertainty. That's uncertainty alone, right? That's enough to, break a family. But then, listen, all we can say is thank God, right? He was found safe. And when I say God heard the cries, I mean that. Law enforcement, the community, the family, strangers online, everybody was praying, hoping, refreshing their screens, waiting on an update. And for once, we got a happy ending. For once, the story didn't, end up in tragedy. For once, a family got to, breathe again. But even in that relief, there's still confusion. Did the phone really ping in San Diego? Was it a mistake? Was it a technical glitch? Or, was something else going on behind the scenes? These are questions that deserve answers because families shouldn't have to go through, emotional whiplash like that at all. All right. And let's be real. This situation shines a light on something people don't talk about enough. How vulnerable kids with disabilities are online. People think, oh, he's 18. He's grown. No, age does not erase cognitive challenges. Age does not erase vulnerability. Age does not erase the need for supervision, guidance, and protection. Online platforms do not care about your child's diagnosis. Predators do not care about your child's, limitations. And algorithms do not care about your child's safety. And that's why stories like this hit so hard, because they expose how quickly things, can go left. Online games, especially the ones marketed as kids friendly, can be dangerous if a child with disabilities is left alone on them. People don't understand how easy it is for someone to manipulate, groom, or lure vulnerable kids. Right? They think it's just a game. They think it's harmless. They think, oh, they're just talking to friends. But behind those avatars are adults, predators, scammers, manipulators, and people who know exactly how to target the kids who don't always pick up on red flags. Right? And when you mix that with a cognitive disorder, the danger multiplies. Correct me if I'm wrong. And if y'all know my story, then you know why this hits me personally. I almost went through something similar. I know what it feels like to, be terrified, to feel like you're losing control, to realize how fast the internet can snatch a child into a situation they don't understand. I know what it feels like to be a parent trying to protect your child from a world that moves faster than your monitor, right? And that's why I speak on this with so much passion, because I lived that fear. I lived that, I lived the what if. I lived the moment where everything could have gone wrong. So I understand this family's, I understand what this family went through. So when I say watch your kids, I mean that with my whole chest. Even if they're 18, even if they're grown, right? Even if they think they know everything, right? If they, even if they're, they're still under your care, right? If they're vulnerable, if they still struggle with certain things, you cannot afford to take your eyes off them, especially online, not for a second. All right. The world is, too unpredictable. The internet is too, unregulated. And the people who mean harm are too strategic. All right. This isn't about control. It's about protection. It's about love. It's about survival. So, yes, we celebrate that this young man was found safe. We celebrate that this family gets, to hold their child again. But we also, take the lesson with us. We stay alert. We stay involved. We stay aware. Because one happy ending doesn't erase the reality that too many stories don't end this way. And if we can't prevent, if we can prevent even one more family from going through this kind of fear, then these conversations matter. So let's talk about it and let's learn from it. All right. And let's protect our kids, no matter how old they are, no matter what challenges they face, and no matter what the world says. We got the beautiful Selena in the building. Damn, I see everybody left as soon as I started getting serious. Why y'all leave? Damn, chat, where y'all go? I got serious and y'all just went on and bounced. Damn. But anyways, man, we're gonna move on to the next topic, yo. But we got the beautiful Selena in the building. Make sure y'all go check her out. Great conversations, great topics. She be doing some great interviews here on YouTube. So if you haven't checked her out, make sure. So what's up? My YouTube glitching? Yeah, I think my screen just disappeared. I'm gonna stay freezing. I mean, I'm trying this Twitch thing out, but my computer is super slow. I'm gonna just close Twitch, and I'm gonna close Facebook. Hopefully the messages come through on Facebook, on the StreamYard, and the ones from Twitch on StreamYard. I'm not sure. All right, so we testing the drawing out today. Let's see how this drawing works out. But let's move on. Let's move on to the next topic. All right, let's talk about it, because this whole next topic, I mean, I know a lot of people are talking about it, right? But I wanted to speak on this topic, right? Y'all know that we've been diving down rabbit holes, not just going through the history of Pennsylvania and how everything started colonialism, right, from the 1600s on down, right? But we also dive down rabbit holes, learning about our ancestors, our ethnicity, our culture, right, religions, Bibles, much more, right? But let me find the video, all right? But we're going to be talking about Mr. Tendernisim, right? And it's crazy how, y'all know how yesterday I was calling Philadelphia, you know, what was I calling yesterday? I would say Philly's colonism, or colonism of Philly, or some shit like that, all right? Hasn't changed. Well, listen, I'm not going to sit here and lie, all right? What happened to Mr. Tendernisim is a form of colonism, all right? And we're going to get into that. Colonialism. Shit, I hate when I can't pronounce my words right and I mess them all up. Now, y'all get what I'm saying? Do I have to break it down? Give me 1 second. I'll be right back.
In the old days, love was pure and true. Now it's just a show for all to view. People use it for their own gain, leaving hearts in sorrow and pain. Once a sacred bond, now just a game. Hearts are broken, never quite the same. Love used to be a beacon bright, now it's lost in the shadows of the night. Oh, how we long for those days of yore, when love was honest forevermore. But now it's twisted, tainted and cruel, leaving us drowning in an endless pool. What can we do? In the spiritual world, all seems bright, but shadows lurk in the dead of night. Half of humanity wears a wicked guise, evil deeds hidden behind virtuous eyes. Beneath the surface, a darkness lies, massive deceit veiling their lies. In this realm where good and evil collide, the line between them is blurred, hard to decide. So tread carefully in this world so grand, for not all that glitters is gold in the sand. In the spiritual realm where illusions endure, evil and good dance in eternal obscure. Just imagine that. Karma doesn't ask you how you want it. Where all just pieces of their charade. Beneath their mask of joy lies the tangled web, where secrets and deceits are carefully bred. Their lovey-dovey act is just for display. We're all caught up in their twisted play. So let's break free from this illusion so grand, and see through the facade with hearts unplanned. No longer in the shadows we seek a love so pure and meek. But all that's left is a ghostly echo, a memory bleak. Longing for a bond that's true in this world so cold and weak. Yearning for the love we knew before the all turned antique. Lost in illusions of affection, bleeding like the mist. Hollow hearts yearn for connection, any realm dismissed. Seeking solace in echoes of the past where love truly exists. But all we find are mere reflections of what love once kissed. Amidst the ruins of our hearts, we search for something real. Yet all we grasp are faded echoes of what used to appeal. In this world where love has become just a commodity to steal. It's just a little food for thought.
Oh, we back. All right, y'all. We're about to dive into this next topic. Facts, Selena, man. We gotta watch our children, especially those with special needs. But listen. I got the video set already. All right, it's 2 videos we're gonna watch from Pink Book Lesson. All right, y'all. I want to hear y'all comments. All right, listen. This is the true definition of colonialism. What happened to Mr. Tenderism? All right. Listen. That mofo, all right, Otis, sat here and he listened. True definition of colonism with no Diddy. No. True colonism, right? Diddy style. All right? Like, and I'm not saying no homo, none of that shit. I'm a girl. No, I'm not a girl. I'm a woman. All right? I am a girl. I'm just a woman. Shit, right? What? Like, wake up. I just want y'all to understand, like, fuck, man, colonism, Diddy style in 2026. Are you kidding me? But let's talk about it, all right? Because this whole, Mr. Tenderism situation is one of the most disrespectful, gritty, and downright shady business moves I've seen in a minute, all right? You've got a man, Walt Johnson, known online as Mr. Tenderism, who built a whole identity around his ribs, his personality, his craft, all right, his name. He went viral. He put in the work. He created the buzz. And then the moment Keith Lee shows up to review the restaurant that supposedly represents him, the truth starts unraveling, right? Like, cheap foil. I said unraveling. I meant to say unveiling. Like cheap foil. All right. The marketing was misleading. The ownership was messy. And the whole operation was built on the back of a man whose family wasn't even being honored or protected. That's exploitation, plain and simple. All right. And let's be real. Keith Lee didn't even drag them. All right. He gave them a fair review. He pressed the oxtails. All right. No, he praised the oxtails, not pressed the fucking oxtails. He praised them. All right. He side-eyed the ribs. He kept it respectful. He didn't go in there, trying to expose anybody. He didn't go in there, trying to embarrass the business. He went in there, to do what he does. Give an honest review and bless, people with tips when he feels, moved to. But the moment he tried to tip Mr. Tenderism $4,000, the restaurant blocked it. All right. That's when the internet said, hold up, something is off. Because why would a business stop money from going to the man who, whose name built the brand? Things that make me go, That's when the real controversy exploded. People started digging. People started asking questions. People started realizing that the trademark wasn't even owned by Mr. Tenderism or his family. It was owned by the restaurant owner. All right. And that's where the greed shows itself. How do you take a man's name, all right, his likeness, his identity, his legacy, and his trademark? No, my bad. And trademark, right? You trademark it for yourself. How do you profit off someone else's story while pushing them to the side? That's not partnership. That's not collaboration, right? That's theft dressed up as business. Does it sound familiar? William Penn, Abraham Lincoln, George Washington. Oh, my bad. We're not talking about the presidents. My bad. I was just trying, my bad. I was just trying to say, does it sound familiar? But anyways, the saddest part is that Mr. Tenderism isn't even here to, defend himself. He passed away. His family should be the ones benefiting from his name. May he rest in peace. All right. May he have peace in paradise. His recipes, his legacy, his impact. Like, instead, they're watching someone else cash in on his work while they get crumbs, or worse. Nothing at all. That's why people are asking, where's the family? Because when someone becomes a, how can I say, cultural moment, when someone builds a brand that resonates with people, Their family should be protected, not erased. Their legacy should be honored, not hijacked. But does it sound familiar? This is why I say protect your name, protect your work, protect your legacy. All right. And people, you know, I see a lot of people get pissed off when they come in my chat. They say, what legacy you're talking about? You've got kids. You got kids, right? You planted a seed, right? You figure it out. Listen, too many people out here waiting for the moment you go viral so they can, you know, swoop in and trademark your identity before you even realize what's happening. And once they own that trademark, they own the money, the merch, the branding, the licensing, everything. And the one person who actually built the name gets pushed out, you know, of their own story. It's disgusting, but it's common. In this situation, you know, is a perfect example how exploitation hides behind business decisions. Right. And shout out to PickBook Lessons for, you know, breaking this down, because without people like, you know, her digging into the paperwork, the contracts, the trademark, and the receipts, the internet would have never known the truth. Let's be real. I ain't got time to do it. I can't. I can review and react to her video. All right. But I can't do what PickBook Lessons does. I don't got the time for it. But listen. This is why independent creators, all right, commentators, and investigators matter. All right, they shine the light on things businesses hope nobody notices. They expose the fine print. They protect the people who, you know, don't have lawyers or PR teams. And in this case, they help the world see that Mr. Tendernisim's family was being robbed of something that rightfully belongs to them. So let's get into it today. Let's talk about, you know, legacy. Let's talk about legacy theft. Let's talk about exploitation. Let's talk about how quick people are to profit off someone else's name while pretending it's just business. Let's talk about why the internet turned on that restaurant. Because the people don't like liars, manipulators, or greedy owners who hide behind branding. And let's talk about how we protect our own work, our own names, our own families from ever being put in a situation like this. Because if we don't learn from these stories like this, we're setting ourselves up, you know, to be the next headline. All right. And like I've told y'all before, we just here for awareness. If what I say or someone in the chat says, or someone that, you know, decides to come up into, you know, on the panel offends you, the door's right there. Just make sure the doorknob doesn't hit you with a good Lord split you.
Approach that he didn't ask for anybody else. There's a lot of people visible on social media. To offer a tip to a business owner was crazy. That was the other thing too, is like he really thinks Walt is like this helpless guy who needs his help. How are you going to tip a business owner? Tip the whole staff.
Come on, guys, we're sorry. If we knew someone famous was in the store, we would have treated him like a king. We thought he was a regular customer, so we treated him like a bag of dog. I mean,
what the fuck?
What do you want us to do? Is that seriously your apology?
So allegedly, they have fired from Destination Smokehouse, Mr. Tendernisim himself. That's what I said. Allegedly, they had fired from the Tendernisim Destination Smokehouse, because all he was the face of it anyway. Because of Keithley, we found out that y'all was already cutting the meat off the bone to make it tender. Sides ain't hitting on nothing, but the oxtails were good, and we don't even know who was cooking them because it wasn't But come to find out, he done got rid of to try to steal the trademark Tendernisim. That's right.
I know everybody is going in on this Smokehouse Destination with Unc and them, but I just got one thing to say that's been bothering me. It's Tendernisim, not Tenderism. Tender.
She sound like my baby daddy right now, man. Look, listen, some of us are gonna say the way we say it. I it's supposed to be all right, but you know, I don't know if it's just in Philly, but we say I. See, like, come on, man. How you gonna tell us how to say something? If I want to say tenderism compared to tenderism, I can.
Niz. Put the nick. I'm talking about put the nick in a niz. Tendernism.
So the owner of Destination Smokehouse, who used Unc, aka Mr. Tendernisim, to get extremely famous and make a whole lot of money for his restaurant, looks like he's replaced Mr. Tendernisim, Unc. And now we see him all the time. Not only do we see him all the time, now we see other people that we have never seen before on all the videos.
I have to interject because I was doing a little research. I'm not sure if it's so true, but you know, allegedly he's not being Satan because he passed away. All right. Now I should have said allegedly earlier, but you know, my condolences to his family. You know, may he, you know, have peace of paradise. It could be true because he's, you know, he hasn't been seen after, you know, whatever happened. Like, that's why I say that the orders, he should have just let the old man have it. Like, why did you take him out the restaurant? Because if he's not here today, damn man, bull, man, you was one greedy mofo, yo. Maybe I'm wrong on what I'm saying, but this is how I feel.
I don't know what's really going on with Mr. Tendernism. They're saying the owner of the restaurant dropped him off at the airport, mentioned something about being with his family. The same owner that I showed y'all already that's trying to trademark his name, Mr. Tendernism. If you missed that breakdown, the link is below. Go ahead and watch the last video to catch up. But we got to be very clear. The name Mr. Tendernism, that brand, all of that is supposed to belong to Walt Johnson. The other guy is indeed the owner of the restaurant, so that's his business. But now he's also trying to own Mr. Tendernism. That's what we call Walt Johnson. And let's not forget, him and his jealous staff, they blocked Mr. Tendernism from receiving a $4,000 tip from Keith Lee. Now all of a sudden Unc is kicked out the restaurant and you're seeing all these other people in videos replacing him, which is crazy because this place didn't even start off as a barbecue spot. The owner originally had a coffee shop that failed. Then he met Mr. Tendernism, who taught him all this stuff on the grill. Because let's be real, none of these people you see in this video came up in a culture where oxtails were even on the Sunday menu. And that's the giveaway.
Y'all, the way this whole tenderism situation is playing out, it really feels like the owner does not want Mr. Tenderism to realize his brand is now bigger than that restaurant. Because once Mr. Tenderism fully understands that the audience is coming for him, not the building, opportunities start going directly to him. And if that happens, he won't need to keep tap dancing for the restaurant anymore. Look at what happened with Keith Lee. Keith tried to give Uncle a huge tip, 5 bands. And security stepped in like an FBI agent talking about he has to give it to the whole restaurant. Why are you telling another grown man what to do with his own money? Not everybody is going to follow your little system just because you said so. As the owner, all you had to do is sit back, let Mr. Tenderism do what he does, collect your money, and enjoy the wave.
Okay, I had to pause it here because I had to do my own deeper research. All right. So I looked up in Google. No, he has not passed away, according to Google, right? It says, based on a recent information, Walter Johnson, popularly known as Mr. Tendernism, right, or Grandpa from the viral TikTok Smokehouse, right, Destination Smokehouse, has not passed away. All right, good. All right. Now, it says, as of early November 2025, reports indicated that Walter Johnson was addressing rumors regarding his health and confirming he is active and running. He is not running in the active. So could this be wrong? Could they be right? All right. It says that there has been other unrelated Walter Johnson figures who have passed away in previous years, such as a 1946 baseball player. I don't even know who that is. There's a Walter Johnson baseball player, or a 2013 founder of Collectors Extravaganza. I don't know who that is. But Mr. Tenderism, according to Google, is alive. So why are people going around saying, and there's this whole TikToker that got a video. Damn. Woo, I'm glad I did that research because snap, I ain't want to have to put this down and then come up and give an apology. Lord have mercy.
So what if Mr. Tenderism becomes bigger than the restaurant and eventually leaves? You still would have had the viral surge. You still would have made serious money. You still would have benefited from his audience and his buzz. Y'all could have kept working together and both won. But instead, it feels like you want to keep him small, keep him dependent, keep him dancing in the background while you try to step into the spotlight. And now suddenly you're in all the videos trying to be the star. And that's why people are side-eyeing this situation, because it's starting to look less like teamwork and more like control.
Why you need him to say it on camera so bad? Because you know you messed up?
On social media to offer a tip to a business owner was crazy. That was the other thing too, is like he really thinks Walt is like this helpless guy who needs his help. How are you going to tip a business owner? Tip the whole staff.
To find negative in someone tipping you as a business owner is weird, as if that's not something that Keith Lee regularly does. And then to insinuate that someone doesn't need or deserve the tip because they're not a struggling old man is also weird. Is giving you're mad that the money wasn't offered to you, as you've clearly explained, because you're mad it wasn't offered to the entire staff. Then to post you sending him back home at the airport is not a good look. I don't care if he did have a prior arrangement that he needed to attend to. You're never coming back from this. You're not.
So leg one is down. Brother has to go back. He's got some special stuff to attend to. How you feel, man? Pretty good, pretty good.
And I know we all been wondering this same thing. Where is his family? Where's Walter's family? Because it's giving financial abuse at this point.
Good, brother. I appreciate you.
Yes,
I love
sir.
you. Thank you for coming out here. I see you can get that. You can't say you love me on camera. I love you, boy.
Uncle Tendernism just got fired, allegedly. I just seen the Mayo-nated man sending him somewhere and talking about he finna go back to his family. And the Mayo-nated man had to make him say, I love you before he got on a plane or whatever. If he let go of the tenderness man, why can't someone else pick that man up? Why can't someone black help that man out? Because y'all will make plenty money. Because if he's the reason that them ribs and is that tender, he can have his own. He ain't got to work for nobody. But did that Mayo-nated mother get rid of Uncle Tendernism? And if he did, the restaurant done.
Take a look. Listen, I feel like I've been on their head. But here's the thing, right? People noticing, dang, Unc ain't in the videos or Unc is recording. And obviously he's the owner. Why are you doing it now? There's two parts to this. One is kind of a smart move because he's realizing how much Unc value us of drawing in customers just from Unc being authentic and being himself. And now he's realizing, all right, I can't just rely on that. He's trying to move away from it. But where he's failing is like, it's not you. You don't got it like that.
He don't. Trying to imitate his dance and everything. He don't got it like that. And the shorty is correct. That restaurant is done. We got one more video to look at from Think Book Lessons, right? And then I can really give my commentary. The restaurant is done. He's done. Like he could have let Unc have it for real. Let him have it. Let him enjoy it. Like you was still gonna profit off this shit. And if later on in the future, boom, and he decided to, that's a different story, and you decided to honor him, nah, but this right here shows the greed and people seeing it. So he's definitely done.
Like the Keith Lee thing, adding on to that already makes the people not like you. So now you're trying to put yourself in the face, and you're the owner, and you weren't doing that from the beginning. It comes off as, inauthentic. So ideally, a business you would want to find another pivot, and see, even now you can't really introduce somebody new because it's too fresh. We all know it's coming off as inauthentic, and we gonna see right through that.
Is it just me, or did Unc go from tendernism to colonialism? Because ever since Keith Lee pulled up to that restaurant and exposed what was really going on, I have not seen him doing any promo for the restaurant, but instead I have been seeing the owner. Now, I'm not saying that man cannot do promo for his own restaurant, because he absolutely can. But what I am saying is we did not see him before this situation with Keith Lee. We did not even know who he was before the situation with Keith Lee. But we did know Unc, right?
Listen, you ain't see him until the situation with Keith Lee, because he seen that, oh shit, if Unc could do this, maybe we could try this. But it's not the same thing. You don't have the same vibes. Colonism, Diddy style.
Didn't know who he was before the situation with Keith Lee, but we did know Unc, right? We was feeling Unc, we was vibing with Unc, which is how this whole tendernism situation even came about. So the fact that you went out and trademarked tendernism and did not allow him to do so speaks volumes to me. And another thing, maybe I'm just petty. Now, I've seen people gentrify neighborhoods, but to gentrify a restaurant is diabolical as hell to me. Because ever since I have not been seeing Unc, I will say that I have been seeing the owner and all of his friends, his cousins, his buddies, whoever them people is. But let me just tell you, baby, their vibe is not there. Their energy is not on point. It is definitely not the same. So if anything, you might want to go get Unc back, because, baby, you ain't hitting on whatever you out there trying to do. It ain't going to work. bring Mr. Tendernism back effective immediately.
You telling me they just got rid of the Mr. Tendernism, the one
Yep,
that sling
they
the
is,
meat
young
off the
boy.
bone and it fall off the bone?
Yes, young
Because
boy.
the owner wanted to be the head honcho. He wanted to dance in the videos. He wanted to be the star in all the music videos.
Yes, Cisco. Yes, they fired him. Yes, because the owner wanted to be the one slinging the ribs now.
He want to be the head honcho. Brother, you couldn't advertise your business. That's why you had to get Tendernism to do a little flavor, put a little flavor in there. Now you gonna hate on the brother, you gonna find the brother out, you gonna find the brother, whatever dude is. I just heard brother ain't there no more. I don't know if he's taking a vacation, I don't know if he's doing this or that, but they said, hey, the boss, he mad at him because he ain't getting the limelight. Brother, don't get mad at the man, that Mr. Tendernism, because he put light on your business, that put money in your pocket. Now you wanna be the head honcho, bro. You gonna learn one day. You gonna learn one day.
But now Unc has blown up, gotten popular, people flying in. Just think about this. People buying plane tickets for hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars, hotels, just to go there and buy some food and to see Unc. And he didn't like that. So
now that y'all know the truth, are y'all going to still go down there, visit, travel, pay all this money? Because he's not there. What's the point?
And to see Unc. And he didn't like that. So it looks like Unc has been pushed to the side. And now we just seeing the owner all the time that doesn't have any personality, any charisma, any on-camera presence at all. But he didn't want Unc being the face of his restaurant, despite using him to make a whole bunch of money and to get popular.
This is the one I was waiting for.
I would try that one.
All right, go ahead, Cynthia. You eat turkey. Cynthia does eat turkey.
I don't have anything to say. This is crazy. This is one of the best quality control trades we've done because there's like no feedback.
Nobody coming to see you, Otis.
That looks like it's lacking flavor and it looks burnt. Throw that in the trash. So you put the star of the show on a plane and sent him home, and now you're trying to introduce new characters to the show. We're not watching your show anymore. Sometimes being a secret investor, the manager, or the accountant, anything behind the scenes is where some people belong. That's where you belong. We don't want to see you dancing in the video. If you want to save your brand and get your momentum back, take your ass to the back. Bring Unc back. And let him go back to doing what he was doing.
No. I gotta cut you off. You tripping. You tripping after the disrespect. After he sat here and trademarked his brand, you said bring him back. I wouldn't have came back. Boy fired. Like he fired him for no good reason. And what's crazy is when they was doing that video, right? He was telling Unc, oh, tell him you love me. Tell him you love the restaurant. We don't treat him bad over here. Dude, bring him back. Like, I don't know what the fuck happened. Shit, you ain't got a shiny head for no reason. Your mama, listen, man, when she pushed a little too hard, right? And you kind of like bruise the top of your head. Hair can't grow. Mirror, mirror. Who's the fairest of them all? The fuck?
In Mr. Tendernism, taking his glasses off. That's what got the attention. Go back to doing what works. Stop trying to be the superstar. It's not your lane.
Too late.
I don't know. Something isn't right about the situation. Where did Mr. Tendernism go? I think we need to talk to him again now that all these handlers are gone from around him. I just need to know one thing. Did he sign anything? Did he sign any paperwork? Because we're dealing with a real shady character here who will tell the world he basically didn't deserve a tip and will go behind his back to trademark his name. It's just all crazy to me. As far as Mr. Tendernism going anywhere else, I would like to see if he signed any paperwork that will prevent him from doing that. But like I said before, I don't see him finding another job so easily that's going to also appreciate his value. And he doesn't have the capital or capacity to be running around talking about opening up a restaurant at his age either. The restaurant business is not easy. And who said he even wanted that? I don't know. I also wonder what's going to happen with that car. Remember they got him a car? Because in that last video with the owner and then the guy with the Haitian flag and the hand signals, both of them up there talking crazy about Keith Lee and why he would offer a $4,000 tip to Mr. Tendernism. In that video, you can clearly see they knocked all the energy and life out of Unc. And I ain't like that at all. It was not a good look. But I digress. Let's go ahead and get the conversation started. Tell me what you think about this below. What's really going on with Mr. Tendernism?
Now, I have something very special coming up for my true supporters. If you want to be a part of that group, the first one to get access, you want to click the link below, sign up for my wait list, just like my people right here.
Hi, this is Joy from South Carolina. Miss Pink Book, just want to shout out to you. Congratulations on your...
I'm like, damn. I was caught up in the other, here we go. Let me get all the videos because I had that one set up. Where's the second one?
That's what we do down here. We smoke meat. Y'all know who behind the camera. Been behind it.
All right, this is the right video. Woo! Like, I don't know what's up with StreamYard, right? But listen. Let's talk about it. Because this whole situation with Mr. Tendernism, right? Getting fired and sent home after, Keith Lee, after the Keith Lee fallout is one of, how can I say, the dirtiest, most disrespectful moves I've seen in a long time. How do you build a whole restaurant identity around a man, his name and his personality, his ribs, his charisma? And then the moment the truth starts leaking out, you replace him like, he was disposable. That's not business. That's not leadership. That's cowardness. That's someone scrambling to protect their own image after getting exposed. And the wild part is, none of this would have come to light if, Keith Lee hadn't walked in and peeled back the layers. All right. Because let's be real. Let's be real. All right. Keith didn't even go in there trying to start drama. All right. He gave a fair review. He praised the oxtails. He side-eyed the, and he side-eyed the, how can I say, the ribs. He kept it respectful, but the moment he tried to bless Mr. Tenderism, all right, Mr. Tendernism's family with 4,000, the owner, stepped in like, some jealous overseer and blocked it. That's when, everything I think unraveled. That's when, the internet said, hold on, something is off. I said it earlier. Do I got the right video on this show? All right. Here we go. All right. And what's crazy is that, right, we find out that after all this, after the backlash, after the exposure, after the trademark drama, they replaced Mr. Tenderism, right, and sent him home. That restaurant is about to see some dark days because you don't get to, how can I say, you don't get to mistreat the person who built your brand and expect the public to keep supporting you. Right? You don't get to silence the face of your business and think people won't notice. You don't get to erase a man's legacy and think the internet won't drag you. All right? People think the internet will not drag them into the sun. I don't know. Listen, I don't know what the hell they've been. Actions, listen, everyone's actions got consequences. And this owner is about to learn the hard way. All right. And let's talk about that trademark move. All right. Because that right there was the biggest, how can I say, rat move of all. How do you trademark a name you don't create? All right. How do you take a man's identity, his catchphrase, his brand, and file paperwork on it like, you invented it? We know how. But listen, that's not strategy. Right? That's theft. That's jealousy. That's someone trying to own what they could never become. And the fact that, he did it behind the family's back and behind the, the scenes while profiting off the man's likeness, that's exploitation at its finest. That's the kind of move that tells you, everything you need to know about someone's character. Maybe I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. Because let's be honest, if Mr. Johnson didn't blow up on TikTok, nobody will know, this restaurant existed. How can I say, the owner didn't go viral. The owner didn't create the hype. The owner didn't make, people care. Mr. Tendernism did. Right? His energy, his personality, and his ribs. That's what brought people in. And instead of honoring that, instead of protecting that, instead of uplifting the man who made the business relevant, the owner tried to erase him and take ownership of his legacy. That's textbook jealousy, right? That's insecurity. That's someone who couldn't, stand the fact that, the spotlight wasn't on them. And this is exactly how businesses die. Not because of bad, how can I say bad food? Not because of competition. Not because of slow sales. Not because of greed, because of ego. Because of shady decisions made behind closed doors. When people see you exploiting someone's legacy, especially someone who, how can I say, is as old as Mr. Waltz, they're done with you. Right? Consumers don't play about, how can I say, about authenticity anymore. All right, they don't play about fairness. They don't play about creators being robbed. And once the internet decides you're the villain, there's no coming back from that. So once again, today we're breaking this down for what it really is: exploitation, jealousy, and legacy death. This isn't just a restaurant scandal. This is a warning to every creator, every family, every person who builds something from the ground up. Protect your name, protect your work, protect your legacy, because there will always be someone waiting in the shadows to trademark your identity and profit off your story. And if we don't talk about it, if we don't expose, all right, if we don't expose it, if we don't learn from it, more families will get robbed just like this. Well, I don't know where Mr. Tendernism is right now. But the crazy part about it is, right, he can't even sit here and use his own, how can I say, his own phrase no more. Right? Even if he wanted to start his own page, he can't do it. He can't even sit here and, use the recipe anymore, because Destination, whatever, fuck, I can't even remember the name right now. Destination, whatever the restaurant's name is, right? Trademarked everything from this man. And what's crazy is they knew what they was doing, all right? This old man was vulnerable. He didn't have nobody around him. Look how old he is, all right? Like, all he wanted to do was work. Like, when you watch his videos and stuff like that, and you listen, I'm not talking about the ones where he's slapping the ribs and stuff like that. Nah, I'm talking about, the videos where he's just talking, all right? You can hear him. He says it. All right, all he wanted is a peace, to work, to do what he likes doing. And a lot of people that reach his age, that's all they want to do. That's what I'm saying. The move that the bull made was disrespectful as shit.
That's what we do down here. We smoke meat. Y'all know who behind the camera. Been behind it for 6 years. I ain't got to talk about it no more. But you see this here. This is genuine brisket. You don't need no teeth. This tendernism. What I'm talking about, destination one in the nation. I got a fact. I make you do the Gene Chandler. But anyhow, right here at Destination, come get it.
Look at that. And watch this. Come on. Even the vibrance of the color there, and the flavor is insane. Whereas like
Destination, one in the nation. Come.
Nah. You can't do. Come on, white boy. You can't do it. I didn't mean to say it. Yes, I did. All right, I'm not gonna say it to everybody, because not every white man is like this man right here. But I gotta say to him, like, come on, man, white boy, you cannot imitate Mr. Tendernism. You can't even dance like him. Why you trying? Come on, Charlie Brown.
So the white guy from Destination Smokehouse has now trademarked the word tenderism, ensuring by doing this that Unc can go out on his own and use that word, when he does his briskets and stuff. So Unc can't go on his own and say, this is tenderism, because this guy has trademarked it. Pretty smart on his part, but I think it's going to backfire on him, because no one wants to see him on camera.
No, that's not smart on his part. That's straight up grimy. It's shady, very, very janky. Tendernism wasn't even his name. Mr. Tendernism is Mr. Walt Johnson, not this other guy. So no, that's not smart. That's thievery, no integrity. And I really want to know, where is Mr. Tendernism right now? Where is his family? If you're related to Mr. Walt Johnson, I need you to hit me up, because now we're hearing from all these other people at the restaurant, but we haven't heard from Unc. And the one time we did hear from him, the owner and security and other employees were all breathing down his neck. So where's his family? That's who I want to hear from. If you're the
Shout out to Pink Book Lessons, yo. Like, really, shout out to her.
employees, were all breathing down his neck. So where's his family? That's who I want to hear from. If you're the family or you know the family, hit me up.
He has been forcing himself on camera. He is doing everything that he can to put himself into our faces and keep giving Unc less and less screen time, because he saw like, hey, this is pretty cool. Everyone loves him, but it's my business, and I want to be the face of it. I want everyone to love me the same and find me as interesting, as fun, as enjoyable to watch as they do Unc, because it's my business. But you're not. I'm sorry. You are not. You should have just played your part, sat back, let Unc shine, and take this thing to the moon. No one's going to do that with you. Jordan's not coming there to throw glasses with you like he did with Unc. Celebrities that were there to hang out, have a good time, they're not going to do that with you. And you are going to cost yourself your business, because
I just said that
of an old man who made you famous.
I just said that, yo. It's envy. There's envy in that man's bones. I'm not gonna say a hater. A hater looks from, how can I say from a distance. Envy, like someone with envy is around you. They watching your every move. They studying. All right, waiting for the perfect time. And that's when their true colors show. All right. Listen, envy and hate might sound similar, but it's not. It's not the same. They sound similar, but they're not the same, man. And then, in Otis's bones, there's nothing but envy.
Unc he's a very old man, and he probably doesn't have all that many good years left. Why couldn't you just have sat back and let this man live out the rest of his life in this newfound joy that he's got with this tenderism and making these cool, fun videos? Why you couldn't do that? And then when he passes one day, which, that's sadly what happens when we get very old, then you could maybe, hey, we all miss him, and I'm going to be here to try to fill his shoes. I know I can't, but I'm going to try. That's what you should have done. That's how you should have handled this. And it would have gotten you a lot more respect. Built a little statue, you would have just kept rising. But nah, you showed your colors, my guy. You showed that you were jealous and that you were a hater. Straight up hater.
And you know what? That's all he really had to do. Keith Lee coming there didn't expose them. What exposed this restaurant was their reaction to Keith Lee only trying to show love to Unc. They couldn't stand the idea of Keith Lee giving that tip to Mr. Tendernism. They all got upset over it. The owner and the other employees. It's like they backed Mr. Tendernism into a corner. He got caught in the middle of all this mess. And you can tell he wanted to make things right with Keith Lee personally, because Keith Lee didn't do anything to him. It was the owner of the restaurant and the rest of the staff that had a problem. They're the ones that blocked Keith Lee's access to him. That's what happened. So he wanted to let Keith Lee know that he didn't have a problem with them, but at the same time, he was trying to stay loyal to the owner and his co-workers, who obviously had a problem and even voiced it.
How are you going to tip a business owner? Tip the whole staff.
I think I want to get this.
Hold on, wait a minute. He just said, how you going to tip the business owner? Tip the whole staff? But I thought you was the owner, not Mr. Tendernism. You're the owner. See? Envy. It's not even hate, it's envy.
How are you going to tip a business owner? Tip the whole staff.
I think
I want to give this to Walter.
Okay.
He specifically said his name to ask me a couple of questions. To ask him a couple of questions, I meant to say. That's how he presented it. He didn't say, hey, I want to give y'all this, and in the meantime, can I talk to Walter and Nick or whatever? He literally asked for him only and said he want to give him That amount of money.
Even right now, though, Butcher Bill or someone that's visible, Walter French, anybody else, it would have felt like it was coming from a place that we would have accepted, but
Tendernism, I just want to give you this. Thank you so much.
I'm sorry. He doesn't need money, okay? He's well suited. He has a salary. He doesn't need your money, okay? He's perfect right here. Leave him alone.
Tendernism. You want the $5,000?
No, he doesn't need $5,000. Okay, he's perfect. You are programmed to do what?
Damn, that's crazy.
Exactly. Okay, he doesn't need your money, okay?
But you're using it, though.
I'm not using it.
Damn, they even started mocking. I didn't even see this part. Damn, you got mofos on what is this on TikTok? It don't say TikTok, but it probably is. It could be Instagram or Snapchat. I'm not sure, but it was the Snapchat. I'm not sure where this is at. But damn, everybody's already how can I say meaning the shit out of what happened.
Him. He loves it here. Don't you love it here?
That white man trademarking tendernism, he's going to hell. And in a handbasket too. The reason I say that, he has ensured that Unc cannot separate himself from the business and move on. Meaning he cannot utilize the word tendernism. So he cannot go around and even profit off of what he made popular by even doing reviews and saying something is tendernism. That's jealousy. That's anger. That's what that man did to Unc. So for all of you who are saying, oh, it's not a big deal. Unc had a stake in the company. Oh, Unc is a business partner. No, he's not. Okay? That man stole that man's idea.
Fact.
Okay, because the owner was not barbecuing and doing all that. He got it from Unc.
I agree.
And when it became popular, and now when people called him out on it, he got rid of Unc and made sure Unc does not profit. That is colonialism.
The reason why this whole destination smokehouse
facts, and I've been saying it throughout this whole life, that is colonialism, Diddy style, real shit.
Profit. That is colonialism.
The reason why this whole destination smokehouse tendernism situation doesn't surprise me is because it's the same thing that happened with Paula Deen and Dora Charles. So Dora Charles worked with Paula Deen for like 22 years, alongside her, not under her, alongside her as a chef in the kitchen. And Paula Deen promised this woman, if I get rich, I'm taking you with me. If I get to the top, we both get to the top. But in exchange, Paula Deen wanted this woman's recipes, and she gave it to her. Gave Paula Deen all of her recipes, taught her how to cook and everything. Paula Deen ended up writing cookbooks using this woman's recipes. She ended up getting Food Network deals with this woman's recipe. And guess how much this woman made while she was working in Paula Deen's kitchen? $10 an hour.
And that's so true. And like I said, I've been saying it throughout this whole life, how this right here proves how history, right, hasn't changed. And yesterday, right, when we was doing the day before yesterday, when we was, diving down the rabbit holes of the history of Pennsylvania, like I told y'all, man, the reason why history keeps repeating itself is because we haven't, been able to come together, unite the right way, right, to try to see if we could change the foundation, right? Policies have been changed. So many things have been changed, but there's one thing that still stays the same. And people haven't even peeped it.
$10 an hour. And then she didn't even sue Paula Deen. Paula Deen got sued, but it wasn't by her. It was by somebody else who sued Paula Deen for hostile work environment and racism, because she heard Paula Deen over talking, saying that she wanted Black chefs and Black waitresses to cater like a wedding or a party she was having for one of her kids or whatever, and she wanted them to dress like slaves. But it just goes to show that people from that decade, people from that time, they lived differently. They don't question like superiority, especially when it comes to somebody who was white. And tendernism, Unc, aka, he's not the person to question it. Like, I bet you right now, he doesn't see anything wrong with the situation. He doesn't see anything wrong with it. He doesn't see that there is a power imbalance. He doesn't understand that, because to him, it's not clicking. We see it because we grew up in a different time. We've educated ourselves and we're more self-aware. But people like him and people like Dora Charles, who never sued Paula Deen, who still to this day will say and kind of admit that Paula really didn't do nothing to her. The only reason she spoke about it is because it came out. They don't see any wrong in what happened. They don't see.
They not, because their hearts, their hearts is kind. They not built like that, man. Listen, when you look at that old man, Walter Johnson, all right, You could tell he's nothing but a sweetheart. Where's his family? I don't know. Does he live alone? I don't know. Nobody knows. Does he have relatives? I don't know. Who did he go home to when he got, dropped off at the airport and got on that plane? No one knows. But in reality, he looked like the type that really doesn't care. It's like, I just had my fun. But it's still messed up.
See, they were treated wrong. They don't see it, and they probably never will.
Okay, what we got to do is we got to stop expecting Mr. Tenderism to move like he's from the 2000s or from the early 90s, because he's really not. I think y'all forgetting he's an old man, and he's literally like arrested in a certain time period that he was born in. So the way we perceive white people versus the way he perceived white people in his time is very different. And because he grew up with that mindset, he still carry it to this day. The way you grow up and the things that you were taught kind of set the foundation for your adulthood and how you perceive things in life as you continue to grow.
And that's another thing, what I've been saying from the beginning. People telling him to quit and start his own restaurant or go find another job. Who said that's what Unc wanted to do? This man is a senior citizen. He didn't ask for a headache. He just wanted to go to work and be compensated fairly for the extra work he was doing and the business he was bringing in. With all these marketing videos. But then he got internet fame. The owner was able to come up off of it, and it could have been a great situation for both of them.
Exactly.
But no, the owner here, he got greedy and jealous at the same time, and that'll do it to you. Your envy and greed will lead you to your own failure, your own destruction.
Even Pink Book Lesson said it, envy and greed. This ain't hate. I heard a lot of people say, oh, he's a hater, he's this. No, man, that mofo had envy in his soul. All right. From the depths of his soul, he had envy. All right. And listen, he ain't gonna prevail.
That man is jealous. He hates that Mr. Tendernisim, Unc, I'm sorry, I don't know his name. That's really rude. But he hates that he's the one getting all the attention. They're driving hours to see him. The Keith Lee came to the restaurant and wanted to hand him a $4,000, $5,000 tip and not him. He's like, I'm the owner. Why am I not the one that's getting all the attention? Why am I not the one that's bringing all the business? Why am I not this? Why? He is not like that. Literally, if he was smart in any kind of way, but especially as a businessman, he would have sat back, let Unc bring all that business to the restaurant and collect it. That's all he had to do. All he had to do was sit back and collect. That's all he had to do. And if Unc one day got bigger than the program and wanted to go and open his own place, he still would have had all that money that he got from when Unc was working with him. But now you have people trying to cancel you because it's giving get out. it's giving we need to save Unc. Something's not right. He's jealous. Now you got him trying to be in every city. We never even saw this man. Like, it was never about him. It was never about him. I don't know what in his brain is making him think that he can just boot Unc out the way and start being in every video and business will just keep booming out. No, we didn't come. Nobody came for you, Otis. We didn't come to see you. They're not coming to see you. This is another perfect example of when I say people need to know when to be quiet. All he had to do was remain behind the scenes. If people think Unc is the owner, who cares? What difference does that make? You know that's not true. Unc knows that.
People were thinking he was the owner because Otis kept saying it.
That's not true. Now we're not seeing Unc in any videos. We're not seeing Unc in anything. Now it's all you. And it's you eating. We don't want to watch you eat. But he just had to be in the spotlight. Like, once he saw, wow, Keith Lee came to the restaurant and wanted to hand him a tip. He said he should have gave everybody the tip. First of all, that's not your money to be telling that grown man what to do with his money.
That's what I said earlier.
And that was my whole situation with the Keith Lee tip drama. They all tried to gang up on Keith Lee, getting on the internet, telling everybody who Keith Lee should have tipped, and having that Haitian guy in the background didn't help either. The owner thought, oh, I'll just put this other guy in the video to help hold me down. And they both ended up making the situation worse. They looked stupid, while Unc was sitting up there looking really, really sad, literally telling Keith Lee to come back. Well, sorry to tell you, but Keith Lee is not coming back. Keith Lee left, he went to Hawaii, and now they're down in New Orleans. You know, it's Mardi Gras season, so it's a time.
I was showing hustling, working for the Mardi Gras. Carnival in New Orleans, I'm outside. Everybody talking about, boy, you're so cold. It's only one Super Sunday, it ain't the Super Bowl. I was showing hustling, working for the Mardi Gras. Carnival in New Orleans, I'm outside.
We in New Orleans, and my family had never had oysters before, so we went to Draco's here in New Orleans, and we got a bunch of garlic, butter, cheese-filled, butter-filled, buttery, butter oysters.
OMG! All right, baby daddy, we gotta go to New Orleans for the seafood, and then we gotta go to Texas, all right, for that barbecue. All right, I know I'm on a diet now, but if summer is coming, all right, one way or another, we're gonna have to go. Maybe, listen, at least for like a couple days in Texas, a couple days in New Orleans. All right, we just gotta go visit. All right, listen, I'm just putting it out there. I know you're watching, so holla at your little butter pecan and schedule a date, and we on it.
So we got 3 orders. Shout out to Tracy. She the one that made this happen. 3 orders of oyster. I can't have it because it's shellfish. That look crazy. Okay, so you got some lemon, some butter. I'm about to say, y'all not even talking. Y'all just eating.
I don't want oysters. I want the lobster, the shrimp, crawfish.
Really good.
No oysters for me.
Oh my gosh.
Like you got butter everywhere.
Butter everywhere.
So good.
What do it taste like? What y'all rate it?
10. Yeah, 10.
10 across the board?
There's nothing I can think that will make it better.
Nigga, y'all making me hungry.
Yeah, you need to go get your allergy. Right, you also have an 8.
Right. We're gonna stop that video right there because that's the end of it. Man, I don't eat oysters, but I'll definitely want to go down there for the seafood. All right, I definitely want to go down there for that seafood. But listen, all right, ain't nobody asked for the link, so listen, I'm gonna just keep giving my commentary, all right, and then just end this live. But before we do end this live, all right, let's talk about it. Because the fact that this man would not allow an elderly black man to receive a simple, well-earned, well-deserved tip is beyond absurd. All right, it's disrespectful, all right, on a spiritual level. Like you have Keith Lee, someone known for blessing people quietly and intentionally, all right, trying to give Mr. Tendernisim, all right, $4,000. And, this owner steps in like he's the gatekeeper of generosity. For what? For ego? For control? For jealousy? It's given, ain't nobody coming to see you, Otis. Right? It's given, I want the spotlight even if I didn't, earn it. And when you block a blessing meant for someone else, how can I say, you expose your character without saying a word. All right, and let's be honest, this restaurant isn't going to last. People can smell greed. They can smell exploitation. They can smell when someone is using a black, how can I say a black elder? How can I say a black elder's legacy for profit, but refuses to honor him, as a human being. The owner already stole, how can I say his recipe, stole his name, stole his shine. So of course he thinks he no longer needs him. This is what these type of people do, right? They use you until, how can I say, they drain you dry, right? Then they discard you like you were never the reason the business existed in the first place. Nothing new, just the same old exploitation with a modern twist. Correct me if I'm wrong, right? Like, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if dude tricked him into, signing a, NDA or some shady paperwork. Like, Pink Book Blessing said earlier, she said some paperwork. I feel as though, like, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but did he make him sign an NDA? Because when someone is bold enough to trademark a man's name behind his back, bold enough to, block a tip, bold enough to replace him after, how can I say, he's made his business as popular as it is, how can I say, you already know the paperwork behind the scenes is probably dirtier than the kitchen, floor. Even if it brings Mr. Tendernism, even if it brings Mr. Tendernism back, which he won't unless the internet forces his hand, I still wouldn't eat there. Once you show your character, that's it. There's no coming back from, that kind of nastiness. And forcing a senior citizen, all right, a full-grown elder to say I love you on camera, that's sick. That's manipulative, all right? That's emotional, how can I say coercion? That's, it's emotional coercion dressed up as, content. The owner wanted attention more than money. He wanted to be the star of the show. Like, he wanted to be the star of the show that he didn't create. All right? He could have stayed in the background like everybody keeps saying, collected his check, and let the man who built the brand shine. But no, he wanted the spotlight, the credit and the praise, the validation. And that's why everything is falling apart now. All right? When you move from ego instead of integrity, the downfall is guaranteed. All right? And Keith Lee, all right, he peeped the energy immediately. That's why he tried to give the money directly to Mr. Tendernisim. Right? He saw the dynamics. He saw the tension. He saw the exploitation. Keith is quiet, but he's observant. He doesn't say anything, he sees, but he moves accordingly. And the fact that he tried to bypass the owner tells you everything you need to know about what was happening behind the scenes. All right, that's why the internet reacted the way they did, because the energy was off from the jump. All right, this is nasty work, straight up. I will never eat at that establishment, and I don't blame anyone else, who says the same thing. Even Stevie Wonder could have seen this coming. All right, the signs were there, the behavior was there, the jealousy was, there, and the exploitation was loud. Ain't no telling how long this has been going on. How many times Mr. Tendernism was pushed aside, silenced, underpaid, or used for content while someone else, collected the money. And now that the truth is out, people are done. The trust is gone. Right? So let me say it clearly. Do not support that restaurant. Right? I hear everybody saying it, but let's see how many people, stand their ground. All right, let it fade out. Let it go. Let the internet do what the internet does when someone plays, with an elder's legacy. Because business built on exploitation don't deserve, how can I say, longevity. All right, they don't deserve loyalty. They don't deserve community support. And if we don't, call this out, if we don't stand on principle, then more families will get robbed just like this. But that's that's the people that decide to stand on principle. I can't speak for no one else. Once again, these are my opinions. But I'm about to end this, John. So before I do, let me just say this. All right. Damn. I'm really starting to get a headache again. And what's crazy is I get the headaches right where I hit my head in the accident 2 years ago. I didn't get headaches in a minute, but I'm starting to really get them now. This shit is wild. Listen, when you look at everything we talked about today, the nurse smuggling drugs into, a jail, the Philly teen disappearing because of online dangers, the exploitation of Mr. Tendernism's name and legacy, you start to see a pattern that's, bigger than any single headline. These aren't isolated incidents, all right? These are symptoms of a symptom that has been, symptoms of a system, all right, that has been broken for generations, so they say, but the system's not broken. It's doing exactly what it's supposed to be doing. A system built on greed, manipulation, power, and people, how can I say, faking, taking advantage of the vulnerable. And every time we peel back a layer, we see the same thing. History, we see the same thing. History hasn't changed. It's just, how can I say, it just learned how to dress itself up in new clothes. Because whether, it's jail employees abusing their possession, a child being lured through online platforms, or a business owner stealing a man's identity for profit, the root is the same: exploitation, control, taken from the people who don't have the power to fight back. It's the same blueprint we've seen for centuries, just with Wi-Fi, social media, and modern branding slapped on the top of it. All right, people love to pretend, all right, the world is more advanced now, but the behavior hasn't evolved. Only the methods have. We talked about it when we dove down, Philadelphia's history. But anyways, when you look at the Mr. Tendernism situation specifically, is a perfect example of how history repeats itself. Right? A black elder built something with his hands, his personality, his creativity, and someone else swoops in, right, to own it, trademark it, profit from it, and erase him from his own history. That's not new. That's not shocking. That's the same playbook used in used on our ancestors, our artists, our culture, our labor. They just swapped the plantation of paperwork. The overseer, the overseer for business, right? The overseer for a business owner, right? In the whip for a trademark form, right? Like even the missing teen situation ties into this bigger truth. All right, vulnerable people have always been targeted, whether through physical force, manipulation, or now digital grooming. The tool changed, but the intention didn't. All right, kids with disabilities, elders, workers, creators, the people who need protection the most are always the ones. All right, always the one the world's, how can I say, tries to take advantage of first. And unless we stay alert, unless we stay vocal, unless we stay involved, the cycle keeps repeating itself. All right, and in the jail story, same thing. Abuse of power is one of the oldest stories in human history. People in positions of authority crossing lines, breaking rules, and thinking they're untouchable. That's not new. That's not shocking. Right? That's not, how can I say, modern corruption. That's the same pattern we've seen since the beginning of time, just with different uniforms, different titles, and different excuses. History doesn't change, it just rotates the cast. All right? Like, that's why conversations like this matter, because once you recognize the pattern, you stop falling for the illusion. You stop thinking that these are random incidents and stop acting surprised when greed shows up wearing a smile. Right? You start seeing the system for what it is, a recycled script with new actors. And when you see it clearly, you call it out clearly. You can protect, how can I say it? You can protect your kids, your elders, your legacy, and your community. You can stop, how can I say, letting people gaslight you into thinking it's not that deep. It is that deep. Right? It's always been that deep. All right. So let this be, the conclusion. History didn't change just to change. How can I say? History didn't just change, right? It just changed outfits, right? It just put on new makeup. It just swapped old tactics for modern ones. But the core, the greed, the exploitation, the power grabs, right? The manipulation, that stayed the same. And the only way we break the cycles, right, is by naming it, exposing it, and refusing to let it slide. That's why we talk about these, stories. That's why we, how can I say, we stay loud. That's why we stay aware, because once you see the truth, you can't unsee that, right? And once you understand the pattern, you can finally start breaking it. But I don't think anybody's going to come up, all right? So, with that being said, we are going to end this live, and a shorty will be seeing y'all this weekend. All right, I'm gonna leave y'all with some lyrical poetry. I hope y'all enjoy the lyrical poetry. All right, shout out to Miss Chicago. Shout out to the real Selena. All right, shout out to the beautiful Selena. Make sure y'all go check her out. All right. Did I say shout out to Miss Chicago, man? If I didn't say shout out to Miss Chicago, shout out to the beautiful Miss Chicago. All right, she be in her little scorpion bag. Get over here. Yo, man, you gotta watch it, man. Miss Chicago is sweet, but she dangerous, all right? You gotta love her. You gotta love her. She's sweet, but dangerous, all right? I like it because I'm the same way, all right? We think alike. We don't think the same, but we think alike. All right. Blessings to Nate the Great podcast. Nate, baby. Let me see who else is in here. Shout out to Young. Jacqueline Hickory. And I think that's it, man. Shout out to everybody, man. Let me get off this drum, man. Make sure y'all sub up. All right, we're going to schedule our next live for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Well, no, it might be just Friday and Saturday, all right? I don't think I'm going to go live Sunday. So, man, make sure y'all stay tuned. We're going to be diving down the history of Philadelphia again. And then, no, we're not going to be diving down. I forgot we were going to switch it up. All right, I think we're going to go towards our ancestors, our roots, and our culture. And I think on Saturday, we're going to be reviewing and reacting to Caught on Camera. All right, so make sure y'all sub up. Check us out. All right, smash that like button if y'all enjoy the stream. And stay tuned. Now I should have screen. And remember, man, I'm going to be scheduling a live for, I think, around March or April, if I'm not mistaken. All right, for the giveaways, for the subscriber giveaways. All right, for those that have been sharing the videos, those that have been rocking out with a shorty, have been liking the videos, and much more. All right, so we definitely going to be doing a subscriber giveaway. We was going to do the subscribers and members, but hey, I don't have enough members. So we're going to start off with the subscriber giveaways, man. It's going to be a shorty's first subscriber giveaway in like what it's been 4 years that we haven't done one. I would say 4 years. All right, so it's been a while. But on that note, guys, man, let me get off this, John, and I'll see y'all next time. All right.
Yeah, we living in a world where the rules don't apply. They say we gotta follow, but we ready to fly. The system got us boxed in, trying to keep us small. But we rise like the phoenix, we ain't scared to brawl. They feeding us lies, but we see through the smoke. We're the voice of the people, we're ready to provoke. They want us to divide, but we're stronger as one. Breaking chains, taking names, yeah, we getting it done. It's us versus the system, we're breaking the mold. Fist in the air, yeah, we taking control. No more silence, no more fear. Together we rise, let them know we're here. Riders ignite. In the world of the vision, they showed us how to share, but the weight of our sorrows, they never taught us to bear. A burden we carry alone, a story left untold. They taught us to split everything, but not the heavy pain. He lingers in the shadows, a darkness we can't explain. We're left with shattered pieces, trying to mend what's lost. They taught us how to split everything, but not the heavy cost. We learned to divide our dreams and multiply our fears, but the ache in our hearts only grew with passing years. They gave us all the answers, except how to heal. The scars that run so deep, wounds that time can't seal. Yeah, they taught us how to share, but only the good. Smiles and laughter like we understood, but deep down inside, there's a storm we hide. Pain in our hearts, we're just trying to ride. Put on a mask, yeah, we play the part, but nobody sees the cracks in the hearts. We share our dreams, the highs and the lows, but when it comes to hurt, we just close the doors. We share the fun times, deflect the pain, laughing in the sunshine, dancing in the rain. But the shadows linger, they creep and they crawl, breaking us down, but we don't share it all. We got hate in our hearts, but we can conceal. Taught to share the joy, but wounds, they stay unhealed. They say love was easy to divide, but the heartache never subsides. We tried to split everything into two, but the pain lingers strong and true. Shared our dreams, divided our fears, but the sorrow remained through the years. No matter how we tried to let go, the weight of our suffering continued to grow. Now we're apart trying to heal, but some wounds are too deep to conceal. They said splitting up will set us free, yet the pain lingers in you and me. In a world where rules are set in stone, the system's grip tightens, we're not alone. Bound by chains of injustice greed, against the odds we fight to be free. Mighty forces try to keep us down, but our spirits rise, refusing to drown. Defying norms, breaking through the mold. In this battle of wills, our story is told. As the clash continues day by day, we stand united, come what may. For in this world where rules don't apply, our strength and unity will never die. They try to silence our dreams, but we're loud and clear. With every step forward, conquering fear. They can't hold us back. We're the fire and the flame in this battle for freedom. We're all in the game. They say it's just a game, but we're playing for keeps. With the strength of the many, we're shattered our leaps. No more puppets on strings, we're cutting the ties. With our eyes on the prize, we're reaching for the skies. So let's stand together, let's break down the walls. In this fight for our future, we'll answer the calls. From the ashes, we'll rise like a storm. Riders ignite, it's us versus the system, and we're ready to fight. They building walls, but we're digging tunnels. With every step we take, we're shaking the bundles. From the streets to the courts, we're raising our voice. In a world full of noise, we're making the choice. They want to keep us blind, but we see the light. Knowledge is power, and we're ready to fight. From the corners of the city to the halls of the state, where the heartbeat of the struggle can't afford to wait. It's us versus the system, we're breaking the mold. It's in the air, yeah, we're taking control. No more silence, no more fear. Together we rise, let them know we're here. Riders ignite. They taught us to split everything, but not the heavy pain. It lingers in the shadows, a darkness we can't explain. We're left with shattered pieces, trying to mend what's lost. They taught us how to split everything, but not the heavy cost. Now we stand here broken, searching for some light, hoping for a way out of this never-ending night. But through it all, we find strength in each other's embrace. Together we'll face tomorrow and find solace in this space. They say don't bring the drama, keep it all light. But every night I'm fighting these demons in sight. Whispers in my mind, yeah, they echo and they shout. While I'm smiling on the surface, I'm breaking without. We're sharing the laughter, but what's underneath? A battlefield of sorrow, a war with no peace. We're warriors in silence, but nobody knows how the pain that we carry just grows and it grows. In a world of lessons learned, they taught us how to stand and burn. But the scars we hide deep inside are the ones that never subside. We followed all the rules they made, but the emptiness never fades. Their wounds like knives, cutting through even wounds that always grew. They painted pictures of success, but couldn't fix what's left on us. Now we're left to bear the strain of the pain that lingers, never wanes. It's us versus the system, we're breaking the mold. That's in the air, yeah, we're taking control. No more silence, no more fear. Together we rise, let them know we're here. Riders ignite. So remember this moment, remember this face, remember this sound. We're the voice of the future, and we won't back down. In the face of